What's up, gamers? I'm your host, Cobra, and on today's episode of the Freeroll, we're breaking down Augencore Key Cards. Augencore is all about the upgrades, so that is exactly where we are going to start with our key cards. First up is the Kill Switch. The Kill Switch is a 3 energy upgrade, and it reads, after upgraded unit is destroyed, destroy target enemy unit. That's right. It's an incredibly powerful ability, and when you pair it with the Salvage ability, which allows you to move the upgrade to a different unit when the unit that it is on dies, and when you attach it to a unit that has Salvage, that means that it's going to be able to move to another unit after it is used the first time, which is tremendous. If you've got multiple units with Salvage, you can potentially get 3 or 4 uses out of a single upgrade before it goes to the waste, which in this case would be really devastating for your opponent. When you do finally attach it to a unit that does not have Salvage, make sure that it is one that you really want to protect, because Kill Switch adds a serious penalty to destroying the upgraded unit and is very effective protection. Next up is the Ocular Implant. Ocular Implant actually got a bit of a buff in that its energy cost was reduced from 2 to 1, and that is the reason why I have added it to my key cards list. It is now the only 1 energy upgrade in the entire Augencore parallel, which means that it is the cheapest upgrade that you're going to find, and it's also quite effective. It doesn't add any traditional buff, but instead the upgraded unit, when it attacks, you get to draw an extra card, and that is very useful, especially because Augencore, it wants to play a lot of upgrades. That means it wants to play multiple cards in lots of hands, and it is nice to be able to have an extra source of drawing cards. Then we have the Cutting Edge. Cutting Edge is a 2 energy upgrade, and it reads, upgraded unit has +1 and armed. Armed is a key word that means that unit deals its damage before non-armed units, which means if it has enough damage to kill the enemy unit, then it takes no damage back. That is a really powerful ability, and so Cutting Edge is adding, armed is also boosting your attack, and most units in Augencore get a boost of their own natively when they are upgraded, so this is another really high value card. Next up, we have the units, and these 3 units are wicked. The very first one is the Hardlinked Pilot, a 1 energy 1/2 unit that has Shielded and Salvage 1. Salvage 1 means that when the Hardlinked Pilot dies, 1 upgrade that is attached to it can be moved to another unit. So that plus Shielded for a 1/2 unit, all for 1 energy, is a ton of value, but it gets even better because it reads, if this unit is upgraded, it gains Defender. So it makes a lot of sense to put an inexpensive upgrade like the Ocular Implant or something like that onto the Hardlinked Pilot. Then you end up with a really, really inexpensive Defender, and for just 1 energy. Up next is kind of the Augencore meta card, the Security Officer. Security Officer is a 2 energy 2/2 unit, but he has the extra ability that after an upgrade is attached to this unit, it gains +1/+1 and Shielded. That is a fantastic ability because, again, Augencore decks are all about upgrades, so you're going to have lots of them available for the Security Officer. For 2 energy, you can get it off as quickly as your second turn, and then as soon as it gets a single upgrade, it becomes a 3/3, plus it gets Shielded, plus whatever bonus the upgrade itself provides. That is really, really tricky to deal with. And finally, we have the Scrapheap Salvager, a 3 energy 2/3 unit with Salvage 1, And it also has the muster ability. You may attach an upgrade with cost 3 or less from your waist onto this unit. So for 3 energy, you're getting a 2/3 unit. That part's just okay. It has Salvage 1, which is great. So when it dies, it's going to be able to move and upgrade to another unit. But even better than that, you don't even have to upgrade it. You get to pull a 3 or less energy upgrade out of your waist and attach it to it right away. That is another really fantastic value. Moving on, I've got an effect card for you as well as a relic. Augencore decks tend to need just a little bit more time to ramp up because they're playing all of those upgrades and a lot of their card mechanics are a bit more complicated. So for that reason, a lot of fast aggro decks will attempt to simply overrun Augencore, and that can be a little bit tricky to deal with, but the anti-organic pulse is a wonderful answer to this. It is a 7 energy effect, and it destroys all non-upgraded units. That is great. This is a board wipe, but the reality is most of your units are going to be upgraded, so you're not going to lose hardly anything when you play this card. And the other reality is that most of your opponent's units are not going to be upgraded, especially in those aggro decks that I was just talking about. So they're going to lose everything. And when that happens, it tends to be game over for those types of decks. Finally, I don't recommend a ton of relics in these key card videos, but this one is a real thorn in your opponent's side. It is a 3 energy relic, and it reads, this relic enters the field with 1 counter. When the enemy plays an effect, this relic gains 1 counter. Activate, remove 1 counter, deal 2 damage to any target. So right off of the bat, it has 1 counter on it. So for 3 energy, you get a relic, and when you activate the relic, you're able to deal 2 damage to any target. That is nice, but the part that becomes a real thorn in your opponent's side is now every time they play an effect, your point defense turret gets another counter, which means they're effectively giving you an additional 2 damage to any target every single time they do that. So against Shroud decks especially, this becomes a real thorn in their side, and you're going to want to have a couple of point defense turrets. So to review, these are the key cards that you want for starting your Augencore deck. If you load up 3 of each of these, you'll have 24 out of 40 cards well on your way to being competitive. The upgrades are Ocular Implant, Cutting Edge, and Kill Switch. The units are Hardlinked Pilot, Security Officer, and Scrapheap Salvager. The relic is Point Defense Turret, and the effect is the board wipe Anti-Organic Pulse. I hope you found today's episode fun and informative, and if you did, consider giving us a subscribe below. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day and really helps to support the channel. There's lots more parallel content coming from the Freeroll, and you won't want to miss anything.